Okie dokie. So I'm recording this just so y'all know. So if the feedback's too much, I might have to mute y'all again. So I'm unmuting everybody. And you may want to mute yourself. That's fine. Okay, so while y'all finishing up the warm-up, a couple things I want to bring up. We're going to have our first assessments next week. And I don't know if it's going to be Monday or Thursday, but it could be either. But I just wanted y'all to have a heads up. And so I think I mentioned this Monday, but just to make sure, I'm going to put y'all on different email groups. And then when we have the assessment, it'll be the same thing. It'll be go, okay, time for a quiz. And then that might be now. It's not, but that might be right now. And then I'll go ahead and email to the different groups the assessment. All right. And then you'll have an hour to get that back to me. Now, it's just going to be like a regular quiz, so I don't anticipate it taking more than a half an hour. But, you know, I just want to make sure. So that's why I'm doubling it. You'll have an hour to email it back. There's going to be no retakes. It's too cumbersome to have to manage that. Just be aware of that. As far as the expectations, maybe you know this, just making sure. Warm up, homework, twice a week. You do that, you get a C. I'm going to use the assessments to decide if A or B for this COVID part of the class. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started on the warm-up. I've got a second monitor now, so that's really cool. I can just look up there and see who's coming and check out the text. I don't have it all like cluttered up here in front of me, so that's kind of cool. All right, y'all. All right, so I went ahead and I drew that picture on the board. I'm also incorporating my cell phone, so that way I can do stuff like that, right? So we're going to use this bar graph, and we're going to determine the number of data items, the mode, the median, the mean value, and then we're going to find out the percentage of population that has 5 or more family members. Okay, so what this is a bar graph. Now, I'm not calling it a histogram because those bars don't touch. Right? This is a bar graph, and this represents the number of family members in domicile. Now, domicile means a living arrangement, right? So if you have 3 people living in your apartment, 2 of them may be your mom and dad, and 1 may be you. That's what a domicile just means, a living arrangement, not necessarily family. Okay, so that's why these are integers. So you can see there's only 1 in this sample that had 1 domicile, 1 member in the living arrangement. So that would be me. Okay, there's only 1 person living here. And here there's 3 people that had 2 people living in a domicile, their living arrangement. So this might be if like you have a single parent and they're just you. And then same thing here, 3 people living in the domicile. So there was 11 of those. 4 people living in the domicile, there was 12 of those. And same things. That's what these numbers are above here. So you kind of have to match it, right? Okay, so the first question. Did anybody get the first question? Number of data items? Now you can just say it, or if you just want to text it on the chat, I'll wait a couple seconds. Anybody get that? Number of data items? All right, let me take a sip. Correct, Bo. So if you're not sure how to do that, you just add the number of items in the bar, right? So 1 plus 3 plus 11 plus 12 plus 15 plus 6. So N is 48. And N is the letter we use to represent the number of data items. So this is a sample of size 48. And in statistics, we get a sample because it's too hard to collect data for the entire population. And then we use the sample to make an estimate about what it would be in the larger population. That's what's going on right now with COVID. You might have read about those serology studies where they tested to see if you had the antibodies in Santa Clara and Los Angeles. and they extrapolated from that sample of size. I think it was 1,200 people. No, maybe, I think it was 3,000 people actually. So they took that, and based upon the ratios of ethnic groups and economic status in that sample, they extrapolated that to the larger Santa Clara population. They came up that probably 4% of Santa Clara had contacted COVID at some point. And so that's what we use samples like this for. Okay? All right, now the next one was the mode. All right, well, I'm sure y'all knew that. The mode would be 5. So the most frequent number of people in a domicile, the most frequent number of people in a living arrangement was 5. Okay, and the median. Anybody get the median? That might have been a little tough, but just making sure anybody. Okay, let me take another sip. Okay, so to get the median, right? And that was, I think, number 3. And we could do the n plus 1 divided by 2, because we find out where is the median located, right? So this would be 24.5. And again, that means in between the 24th and the 25th data. Okay, so if we went ahead and counted, where would be that 24th and 25th number? So this is going to be kind of related to the cumulative frequency. So we got one number less than or equal to 1. We got 4 numbers less than or equal to 3. We got 11 plus 4 numbers less than or equal to 3. Did I say that? No. And then here, less than or equal to 4, we've got 12 plus 15. Okay, so that means the 16th and the 27th number would be in 27. So in the bar for 4. Bo, you're correct. So in the bar for 4 would have been the 16th all the way to the 27th number. Well, that's including 24 and 25. So this is where the median is. Notice it's not the same thing as the mode. Right? It might be close to the mode, but it's not the same thing as the mode. All right, so you can't always assume the mode and the median the same. Okay, so then we got the last part, which was finding the mean. Did anybody get the mean? Okay, let me take a sip. Okay, now there's 48 numbers. So we're going to add 48 numbers and divide by 48. So there was 1 1, 3 2s, 11 3s, 12 4s, 15 5s, and 6 6s. All right, so to get the mean, we go 1 plus, we got 3 2s, so 3 times 2, plus, we got 11 3s, so 11 times 3, plus, we got 12 4s, so 12 times 4, plus, we got 15 5s, so 15 times 5 plus, and then we got 6 6s. So plus 6 times 6. I'm sorry if I have to squeeze that all there. So 1 1, 3 2s, 11 3s, 12 4s, 15 5s, 6 6s. So I'm just multiplying the frequency numbers to the X values that represented the bars. All right, now we divide that by 48. Okay, and you should get 4.1458. So a little bit more than 4. Notice where that is. That's right about here. It's in between 4 and 5. Okay. All right, anybody get the last one? What was the percentage of the population that has 5 or more family members? All right, I'll take a sip. Okay, well, 5 or more, we got to find out how many that is. So 5 or more would be 15 plus 6. So there's 21 out of this 48 size sample that had 5 or more domicile members in the domicile, members in a living arrangement. And so you would solve this, right? And you should get 43.75%, right? Okay, everybody good? Ah, Bo, perfect timing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look at the homework. And then today we're going to look at something called relative frequency. And you probably already know what that is, even if you don't know what the word relative frequency means. All right, so here's the homework. And notice I like to do the stem and leaves when I do this. Okay, and I went ahead and I circled the zeros and the 50 because these intervals, 100 got included in the first group, and then 101 was the number in the second group. All right, so that's why I did that, to make sure I didn't miscount. All right, and so got these frequencies, okay? And then notice I'm doing a split stem here. So I put 100 to 150 on top, and I put 151 to 199 on bottom. All right, and so notice the cumulative frequency, you always start from the lowest to the highest. So 7 plus 7 less than or equal to 150. And then 10 plus 7 plus 7 less than or equal to 200. And then 6 plus 24 less than or equal to 250. And then you get this. Now, you didn't have to find the median. I'm just doing that a little extra. All right. And this red line that you guys see, this is called a frequency polygon. And what you do is you start at the origin on the left side. It may or may not be the origin, but that's just where you start, that left corner. And then you put a dot in the middle of the bars. And then you just connect. Okay, and then the same thing here. All right, now here they gave you the frequencies. So notice you're basically just adding to the previous number, right? So this is still 9 because there was no numbers in this third group from the top. So you still have 3 plus 6 less than or equal to 120, right? And then here's your bar. Okay, and then here I made tally marks. The same thing. Okay, now here there was a question. And so there would have been 18 numbers less than or equal to 39. So starting with 40 and to 49 would have been how many more numbers you have than 18. So if you subtract these two, there would have been 7 more numbers from 40 to 49 that you have to include to get the 25 cumulative frequency. So less than or equal to 49 would have been 25 numbers. Less than or equal to 39 would have been 18 numbers. How many numbers from 40 to 49 would have been the subtraction of these two? All right. And then here, since you can see the 90s, and that's a 90 and not a 91, then that would have been included here. from 81 to 90, all right? And so there were no 70s. So that means we can exclude 1 and 2. There were no 70s. So then we just got to figure out, is it 3 or 4? Okay, so then it's just a matter of comparing with what you have. So I see that there's 5 80s and 1 90, right? And so that's why it's this one. Okay, and then here they're asking you for the interval that contains the median. All right, so notice getting the frequencies, finding how many there are, n plus 1 divided by 2, so the 12th number would have been the median. Okay, so where's that located? Well, one number was less than or equal to 40, 4 numbers were less than or equal to 50, 6 numbers were less than or equal to 60, 13 numbers were less than or equal to 70. So that means the 7th to the 13th number occurred in this group. So it has to be that group. Okay, let me admit Darius. Okay, Darius, it's nice to have you. Welcome aboard. I just went over the warm-up. You're still responsible for it. So I record these sessions. I'm recording this right now, so you guys probably already know that because you guys have already been paying attention to Google Classroom. So just, you know, in case I know things can happen, you have backup. All right, everybody good with the homework? So I share this with you. So I call it homework solutions. So I've been posting the links on the same links as the Zoom, so it's more convenient for everybody. Okay. All right. Now, when we compare groups, if the groups don't have the same size, we really can't compare them. So if I want to compare first period that has 30 students to third period, which has 25 students, to sixth period, which I think has 22 students, they have different sizes. So I can't just go by the raw numbers. How many students got A's, B's, C's, D's, F's? All right. So what we do is convert to percentages. We convert to per 100, right? So if you have a 30 size, a 25 size, and a 22 size, converting them all to be per 100 enables us to compare them, all right? And so that's called relative frequency, basically percentages. Okay, so we're going to now look at one example. And when you guys attempt this, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the whiteboard. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. Okay, well, first thing we got to do is we got to figure out what's the total here. All right, so if you add these, what, 5, 6, 11, so 11 plus 11, 22, 22 plus 8, 30, 30 plus 10. So the total, the size, is 40. But what would it be per 100? All right, well, then that just means we solve these problems. Now, at this point, I think hopefully you guys can just divide and move the decimal point, right? You could also simplify these. So this would be the same as 1/8, right? And if you need to, you can always solve this percentage problem if you want. So notice you're going to divide 100 by 8. Okay. Bo, correct? What about the percentage of B's? What would the percentage of B's be?
So this is the story of
So Darius, I had to mute you, which is all good. All right, correct, 15%. All right, what about C? Correct again, 27.5%. Anybody want to snag on the D and the F? And again, you could always simplify this. So if you simplify this, you get 1/5, right? Might be, and again, you might be familiar with 1/5. At some point, you get familiar with these decimal equivalents to basic fractions. Correct, 20%. Okay, and the last one, the 25%, correct. And again, notice you can always simplify, right? All right, so what this tells me is that 45% of the students got a D or less. All right, so that's almost half. Now, I just made these numbers up, right? Just so you know. So now we can compare the results from this group with another group, even if we don't have the same sample size. So if there was another class of size 30, we could convert to percentages and then see. Okay, everybody all right with that? So this tends to be easier for students, which is one of the reasons why we're ending the semester with it. But again, just to remind everybody, next week, you are going to have your first assessment, and that's either going to be Monday or Thursday. And it'll be just like a quiz. And I'll put you all in email groups. And then, so I might go over the warm-up and say, okay, time for a quiz. And then I'll send each group their version of the quiz. You'll have an hour to send it back to me. And again, it's just like a regular quiz. I don't anticipate it taking more than half an hour, so I'll double that. Okay, anybody want to ask me about anything or say anything or text me something? Okay, I'll take a sip. All right, y'all, it's glad to have you on board today. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And y'all ain't tough, okay? We can get through this, all right? And take care. See y'all next week.